Hello and welcome to Garb Studio. In this tutorial, we will further continue with user management commands from the last session. So, without further ado, let's get started. Today we are going to learn about change ownership of files. Let's create a file with touch command. I will name it as file1. Now let's create a new user with user add command. I will name it as user1. Now let's see the long list view in the current directory with ls-al command. Here you can see the 7 fields display with ls-al command. First field shows file permissions. Second field shows number of links. Third field shows owner name. Fourth field shows the group owner. Fifth field shows file size in bytes. Sixth field shows time of last modification, and last field shows the file or directory name. Here owner of the file is garb_s. Let's change the ownership of this file to user1. Use sudo space chown space new owner name space file name. Let's check if the modification happened with ls-al command. Here you can see the modification has happened. Okay, now, let's change the group ownership of the file using chown command. Let's change the group ownership of file1 file, from garb_s to user1. Use sudo space chown space new group name space file name. Let's check if the modification happened with ls-al command. Here you can see the modification has happened. Now, let's change both of the owner and group of the file at once. I will choose owner as garb_s and the group as tomcat9. Use sudo space chown space new owner name new group name space file name. Let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see the modification has happened. To change ownership from a specific user to another, we can use -- from syntax. In here current owner of the file is garb_s, and let's change the ownership to tomcat9 user. Use sudo space chown space -- from equal current owner space new owner space file name. Let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see the modification has happened. We can duplicate the ownership of one file onto another file, using -- reference syntax. Let's create a new file named file2.txt with touch command. Let's check the current ownership with ls-al command. The current owner of the file2.txt is garb_s. Let's duplicate the ownership of file1.txt to file2.txt. Use sudo space chown -- reference equal source file space new file. Let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see the ownership of file1.txt has duplicated to file2.txt. Now, let's try to change owner and group of multiple files. Let's check the current ownership and group of files with ls-al command. Here, owner and group of both file1 and file2 are tomcat9. Let's change file ownership of both files to garb_s and group of both files to root with one command. use sudo space chown space new owner new group name space file name separated by spaces. Let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see the modification has happened as expected. We can use chgrp command also to change the group ownership of files and directories. Let's use our previous file to demonstrate this command. First of all, let's add a new group named demo group using group add command. Let's check what's the current group of file1.txt file. Use ls-al command to list the files and directories with details in current directory. Here, group ownership of file1.txt is root. Let's change it to demo group with chgrp command. Use sudo space chgrp space new group name space file name. Let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see the modification has happened. Let's create another file name file3.txt with touch command. Let's check the group ownership of files again. Group ownership of file1 is demo group, file2 is root, and file3 is garb_s. Let's change group ownership of all three files to tomcat9 group with chgrp command. Use sudo space chgrp space group name space file name separated by spaces. Now, let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see the modification has happened as expected. Now, let's change the group ownership of a directory using chgrp command. First, I will create a directory hierarchy with mkdir command with -p option. I will name parent directory as demo_dir and child directories as demo_dir1 and demo_dir2. Let's check group ownership of demo_dir and its child directories with ls-al command. Capital R stand for recursive option. Here you can see all directory ownership of all parent and child directories are garb_s. Now, I am going to change group ownership of parent directory to tomcat9 with chgrp command. Use sudo space chgrp space new group name space directory name. Let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see group ownership has changed only parent directory. Let's change group ownership of all directories including child directories to demo group with chgrp command. Use sudo space chgrp space -r space new group name space parent directory name. Now, let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see the modification has happened as expected. We can change the group of another file or directory, using the group name of a reference file with -- reference syntax. Let's try it with file1.txt and demo_dir directory. Here group ownership of file1.txt is Tomcat9 and group ownership of demo_dir is demo group. Let's use reference file as file1.txt to change group ownership of demo_dir. Use sudo space chgrp space -r space --reference equal source file name space directory name. Now, let's check if the modification has happened. Here you can see the modification has happened as expected. Using these commands you can do the administrative tasks associated with user and group ownership. Use man command to explore more options about the commands. You can experiment further and discover more about the commands. And let us know your finding with a comment. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and informative.